What's up, guys? My name's Connor Brown, and today we kind of have a special video for you today. It's the start of a new series focusing on teaching my wife how to play tennis. And so there's 3 tiers for this. The first tier is to teach you guys how to play tennis. She is starting from a beginner level, like absolute beginner, has never played tennis before. So I want you guys, if you guys are beginners, I want you guys to take something from this video. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. There's no question too small, too big. I will try and tackle it all if I know the answer. The second reason for this video is to teach my wife how to play tennis. I mean, that's just fun. Not only will it give me somebody else to play with besides my brother, who I'm not always with, but it will also just it'd be fun, right? It's another activity that I can share with my wife, and that's what I want. So then number 3, the thing that I want to take from this and to kind of give to the channel is an ability to learn how to coach. I've never coached anybody. I think I have an ability where I can talk to people of different skill levels and basically tackle it for different ways for different people. I think that's super important because I think different people learn different ways. And I'm going to try and take that and bake it into this series and put it out to you guys. Today, we're going to go over the racket that we bought. I'm going to go over 3 factors that I think are the most important for beginners choosing a racket. That is head size, the weight of the racket. There's 2 subcategories for that we'll go over, and the grip size. So, head size, the weight, and the grip size. That's it. I narrowed it down to 3 different rackets, but there's a bunch of good beginner rackets out there. I mean, you can even find a racket out at Walmart that meets a lot of this criteria. And that's the thing. Whatever racket you guys have is the perfect racket to start with. Sorry, my cat's climbing up on me. Here she is. Hello. Okay. We have a visitor for this. Do you have anything to say? Terrific. As I was saying before, there are 3 things that I would look at for a beginner racket. That's head size, there's weight of the racket, and there's grip size. So, the most important thing, I think, is weight. You could start with a smaller racket. Sorry, baby. And you'd get used to it eventually. You could start with a racket of like a smaller grip size, and you could put a overgrip on it, and you would get used to it eventually. But I think weight is probably the most important of the 3, so maybe I should put that first, but I digress. Let's talk about head size first. So the head size of the racket is this size right here, this big oval right there. That is your head size. And the way the way that everybody lists their head size is in square inches. So this racket is the one I started with, and it's a 96 square inch head size. So relatively small by today's standards. What I would recommend for people today is a minimum of 100 square inch head size. If you play with something like a 95, 96, it's doable. You will probably get used to it as you get better. The issue becomes having that smaller head size. There is less room for error. If you have the 100 plus head sizes, there is more room on the head of the racket for you to contact the ball. That's basically it. You will not always have good contact with the ball, so having that little bit of cushion is perfect. It's perfect. I recommend it for beginners. I recommend it for intermediate players. I myself am using head speed MPs, which are 100 square inches. There's no shame in using like a 98. Absolutely not. But I don't want people to get into this idea of the smaller the head, like the better I am or better I'll become. There are professional players out there playing with 100 square inch head size rackets. So throw that out of your mind. What you are aiming for is basically to be as consistent and as giving yourself as much room for error as possible. That is the main ingredient here for the head size. Let's talk about grip size, because that kind of goes together. Grip size, if you don't know, I believe the standard that they list for women is 4 1/4 or grip size 2, and then for men is 4 3/8 or grip size 3. So I actually play with grip size 3, but I just recently started playing with 4 1/4 with an overgrip on it. And the reason I did that is because if I put an overgrip on 4 3/8, I don't like the feel of it in my hand. I like the feel of 4 3/8 with no overgrip. But to change they call it a replacement grip. If you don't use an overgrip, you use the base grip that comes on your racket. And they call it a replacement grip when you buy a new one. And to replace that is like $7 or $8 every time. I wear through them because I got like sweaty hands. I play pretty consistently. So I'm not paying $8 every time. Before my most recent tournament, I paid $17 to regrip both of my rackets. And if you look at the price of an overgrip, it is literally like I paid $12 for I think I paid like $10 for a 12-pack or something like that. Like it's just a crazy difference, and they're just super cheap. I'd much rather play with the overgrips and get used to those than play with the replacement grips and have to pay every time. So I just recently made the switch to that overgrip. So 4 1/4 with an overgrip might be something you could play around with, but no shame in just using the regular grip. I'm just warning you, it will be a little bit more expensive. And then the last thing, the third thing that I recommend beginners look for is the weight of the racket. It may be listed in ounces, it may be listed in grams. Usually you're going to get 3 different weights on your racket. You're going to get an unstrung weight, you're going to get a strung weight, and you're going to get a swing weight. Throw the unstrung weight out if you want. It's fine. What matters is the strung weight. It'll be pretty, like a rough estimate depending on what string you use, I guess, but it's important because it tells you how heavy the racket is in your hands. And then the second most important thing is the swing weight. Because that'll tell you how heavy it is to move through the air. Underrated thing to pay attention to. Because if, like my racket, I think is a 315 grams, which is kind of heavy, but it swings at like 325. It's okay. Some rackets are like 320 or something like that, and they swing like 340, 350. They're just heavier. And after a while, this is why I want you guys to pay attention to this. After a while, a heavy racket is going to wear on your arm. It's going to wear on your shoulder, especially as a beginner. If you don't have really good form, that's just going to make it much worse. So I would say it is important to prioritize a low weight. I would say something under 300 grams. 300 is not bad, but it's kind of where like intermediate players start to go when they start to look for their first like serious racket. But I would say something under 300 grams. So that's what I kept in my mind for searching for my wife's racket. It needed I went with 4 1/4 grip size. I had her test my 4 3/8, and they were a little big, so we went with 4 1/4. The head size, I went with at least 100 square inches. And then the swing weight, I was aiming for around 285. I also wanted a low swing weight. Swing weight, I wasn't quite sure what to aim for. I think I would probably do like 310 or less, but it kind of depends. I have a little bit of leeway in that area. So the 3 rackets that I narrowed it down to that I thought would be the most beneficial, that would meet all of our areas, but also, and this is a big one, be pretty cheap to purchase. I want used rackets. I want used rackets that are cheap, and I also want, you know, if there's another version of it out there, to be able to step up at some point. So that was important too. I found 3 that I was pretty happy with. What I went with, boom, these 3 rackets right here. The Babolat Pure Drive Lite, the Wilson Ultra 100L, and the Wilson Clash 100L. It did not have to be the V4 and V3 for the Ultra and the Clash, respectively. Anything around there would have been fine. So I kind of got it down to this point, and I didn't know which one to choose from here. We'll go over their, we won't really go over it, but I'll just show you their specs real quick that we would pay attention to. Okay, so they are all 100 square inch rackets. 100, 100, and 100. Another thing you should probably pay attention to, but less important, is the length of the racket. All these are 27 inches, which is just the standard length. Your strung weight is 10.4 ounces or 295 grams. Here it's 295, same, and here it's 283. And then your swing weight for the Pure Drive is 299. The Ultra is 299, and the swing weight for the Clash is 301. So the biggest difference that I found, at least in the categories that I'm searching for, is the strung weight for the Pure Drive was 283, which is closer to what I was aiming for. That's what I narrowed it down to, but I also, and I think this is relatively important, if you can do it, is let the person pick their racket, because you can narrow it down to a few options. But then I basically showed all of these to my wife, and I was like, which one do you like the best? And she picked the Pure Drive Lite. I think it's important for the person who's going to be playing this with this racket to have some input on the design of the racket. Whether that's even just like the color of the strings or something like that. With the color of the you could do different grips on it. You could do different colors for that. Whatever input they have, I want that person to like the racket they play with, because that's also a mental thing. If you give them a racket that they think is ugly, or they think is, I don't know, there's just any little thing that they can mentally take them out of the game, it does play a factor. It's kind of a silly thing, but it's there. I will say, while searching for rackets for my wife, there are so many different good, cool rackets out there. I was super surprised to see how many were offered. And we actually bought this on eBay. I believe our total was $120. It is a used racket, but from the pictures, it seemed to be well taken care of. It was regripped. Probably need newer strings. They're not super great, but it does have some little scratches on it, which you got to be okay with. And honestly, personally, if you're looking for a racket for a beginner, it will probably get dinged up, scratched up. I basically just want to take that. You don't have to be careful with your rackets. Definitely don't smash them, because they're expensive. And also not something you want to, let other people see. There could be kids watching. You don't want to do that. So take that into consideration, though. But even just like going for a ball that's, on the ground or something, and you get to it and you scratch your racket on the ground, I basically just want to get rid of that thought. Just say, my racket's already got scratches on it. It's okay. So that's where I'm coming from there. It's okay to buy used. It's more affordable to buy used. And sometimes you can find people who really took care of their rackets and just, moved on to something else. So something to keep in mind. That's all I got for you guys. The next video I put out will probably be me breaking down my gameplay again. And we will get back into this whenever my wife and I have a chance to get out and play. The main thing behind today's video that I wanted to take away with you guys, or to give you guys, is to walk through the process of buying a new racket or a beginner's racket. So if at the end of this video you guys have any questions, you have any comments, you have any concerns, you have any even suggestions, if you have suggestions for really good beginners rackets, drop them in the comments down below, because if a beginner sees this and doesn't like any of the choices I had there, then they might find your comment and you could give them a new racket. So that's fantastic as well. But other than that, if you guys have any comments outside of rackets, drop them in the comments down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. So hope you guys like this series, and I'm excited to get into it a little bit. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.